This week's episode is part 2 of a 2-part series that we started recording last week. So if you're coming across this episode, you might want to go back and watch part 1 first. And this episode continues on with answering questions that our watchers and listeners sent in to us about polarity, masculine and feminine energies, and how these impact intimacy in a dominant-submissive dynamic or in any relationship. So you may also want to go into the show notes. We've made a free ebook available for you to go along with these episodes that dives deeper into these concepts of masculine, feminine energy and polarity, and gives you some tips about how to integrate them with your life and your relationship, whether it's a dominant submissive relationship or not. So sit back and enjoy the show. We're going to pick up right where we left off last week, answering more of the questions that were sent in. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the Dom Sub Devotion podcast. Every episode of Dom Sub Devotion is an authentic reflection of our real life in a loving 24/7 DS marriage. If you crave the passion and intensity of a power exchange dynamic inside of a deeply loving and intimate relationship, you've found the right place. You can always find more from us in the show notes and at infinitedevotion.com. Thank you for listening.
So this next question is one that I'm excited to answer. Do you ever work with same-sex couples? Most of your content assumes heterosexuality and a dominant man and submissive woman. Yes, it does, because that's what we are. And to speak from any other perspective would be inauthentic. It wouldn't be coming from a place of experience. We share our life from our experience, and we extrapolate from that for other people who want to learn the lessons that we have to share. Now, do we work with and have same-sex couples learn from us? Absolutely. We hear from plenty of them in our comments, in our direct messages. We share as authentically as we can what this is for us. Anyone can take it and apply it to your life in the way that feels right and real to you. Take what works for you, discard what doesn't, and then go on with your life. We can't and won't ever try to speak to everyone, even though what we share applies to everyone. Because again, polarity does not care if you're straight, if you're gay. Polarity doesn't care if you like this or that, if you're a switch, if you're a dom, you're like a female dom, a male sub. Polarity doesn't care. It's going to balance itself. You just have to tune into what feels right to you, what brings you alive, what exhausts you or what energizes you.
Yeah, and the key word there is authentic. And this is what we've arrived at in our authentic life experience. And like in hearing you speak about that, it made me think about like, I wouldn't go take guitar lessons from someone who's never played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't know the experience of the instrument. So we can only really speak from our own experience, and we love hearing how other people take it and apply it to their lives.
Yeah. One of the most liked comment replies I've ever done on our Instagram posts was someone who asked, it was a gay male who asked, do you know of anyone who speaks like you do to gay couples? And I said, no, we get asked that quite a bit. Maybe you should start one. There's clearly an audience for it. So yeah, there's an audience for people in all kinds of expressions. We can only teach what we know. I love the guitar lesson analogy. It's a perfect one. So we asked a few of these from a female perspective. We have a couple now asking questions about my side of it. The first one being, how do you handle it when Andrew gets emotional? And then there's another one that goes with it. I'm just going to put these two together. As a masculine dom, how much anger and hurt do you share with your submissive if she hurts you?
I just had a funny thought, but I won't share.
Oh, you kind of have to now.
I was going to say, I put him over my knee and spank him.
Good luck. So when I get emotional, first of all, it's a sign. Again, let's come back to the polarity concept. If I'm feeling emotional, if I have emotional energy that I'm feeling a need to express, it means that I have received something in the physical world. Every emotional expression is a response to something in the physical world. It's just the way that it works. So if I'm feeling emotional, it means that in some way or another, I probably feel out of control or somehow impacted by the uncertainty of life. So when I get emotional, I need to express that emotion. That energy has to come out. It has to move through me. What I do is I get that energy out. I express it. What I don't do is express it at you. And this is one of the things that guys, because so many men don't have friends, because so many men don't have anyone that they can go to in their life, everything gets put on their partner. Everything gets put on you. Well, then what I'm doing is I'm starting this polarity cycle in reverse. If something happens over here, let's say at work or out in public, and somebody does something and it hurts my feelings, and now I express that to you, or you do something that hurts my feelings, and now I express that to you, now I've put you in the receptive emotional, I'm in the expressive emotional. Now we get into an inverted polarity, and everything starts to go in that direction until we get back out of it. So if I'm getting emotional, I deal with it. I express it. I feel it. Have I screamed in cars? Yes. Have I rage journaled? Yes. Have I been a whiny little bitch in my journal or to myself on a walk? Yes. I just don't get it out at you. I get it out with other guys, with friends, like other places.
Let's talk about that word emotional.
Okay.
Because there can be a stigma around it. And when I hear you talk about it, I feel like there's something else we can call this, because what came to my mind was another situation where we feel emotion. Let's say we go to this beautiful scenery in nature and you take it all in. Like I imagine standing somewhere in the mountains where there's water and the mountains and the sky. It is just pretty, and you start to feel. What might you feel in that situation? Experience.
Moved.
Is that an emotion?
Or
What's moving?
beauty. Like it can be really impactful, and it can feel like an emotional experience to see and receive beauty.
Right. And so you're going to feel like joy and happiness and gratitude and just like awe, right? So is that emotional?
Good point.
That's what I want to get at here, is because it's like some people, you're too emotional, or we say women need to be emotional, and men, what do they do with their emotions? Like what I'm hearing you say is there's like in the way you describe that is certain emotional experiences can't be given to me, because you do tell me when you're happy and excited. Those are emotions, right?
True.
So help us like differentiate like the deeper part of what's going on there.
I think it's the processing, first of all, that I don't bring to you. And then also, it's what has been received in order to generate that energy.
Okay.
Because nature is a very feminine expression. And so, have I received something in my heart? Have I received an emotional expression? Have I received some sort of an expression that's moving to me? Or have I received something that has put me out of control and has me reeling and uncertain and feeling this need? Because when I hear like expressing how my emotions, or the second one of those questions was like expressing my anger. This is really the thing that this is getting at a lot, is anger, sadness, a lot of the emotions people are uncomfortable with. No one's uncomfortable with happy.
Right.
Well, almost no one is uncomfortable with happy. Eeyore is uncomfortable with happy.
And there are some Eeyores in the world,
There are
but
some Eeyores out there.
that's from their own wounding.
So it's the unprocessed emotional expression that's trying to get validation and approval and soothing and mothering from you, like that is coming with a needy, like looking for you to fix me or to make me feel better. That's what I'm talking about in the emotion that I don't and can't bring to you. Now also, it doesn't mean I have to close you out of my experience, because that's not going to feel good either. Going cold and shutting down doesn't get there either. So really what it is, it's doing the processing on my own. It's getting through all of the uncertainty on my own, with other men, with a therapist, in my journal, whatever it is that I need to do, so that I can come to you and be like, here's what's going on. And that doesn't put you into turmoil the way that me bringing all of my garbage and mess to you does, because it does. It just happened, that same thing I was talking about a week ago, where I felt those walls go up and I was really sensitive to you. Well, the next morning I told you that hurt me. And then you went through days and days and days thinking, oh, well, I can't do that anymore because that'll hurt him. And that's the whole polarity inverted right there. Because did you really hurt me? No. You hurt my ego got stung because you shut down and then kind of lashed out at me. But that didn't actually hurt me. It showed me really where I was uncomfortable with something.
I will tell you, so you don't think that. I wasn't thinking about it for days. It was just that morning in the conversation when I started thinking about it again. And here's what I did was like, oh, well, because this was a moment where I saw I was in my ego. I knew I was in my ego, and I felt like I was in a prison. And I was like, I have to let myself just feel all of this, because I can't, even just saying this out loud, my whole experience of that experience is changing, because I had to let myself be in that prison to let it fully speak to me and help myself see what was actually going on. And I did fairly quickly, but then after. But what happened, what you're speaking to, is that morning while over coffee, I was like, when I find myself in my ego and I see I'm in my ego and I feel like I cannot get out of it, maybe I should just journal so I don't give it to you. That's where this conversation is coming from. And you're like, wait a minute.
Because what have I told you for years? I want you to express everything you're feeling to me all the time, no matter what, with no filter.
Right, because then you're led into my experience and you can actually tune into it from a way that I can't myself.
Right.
And you learn from me, and then it's like a mutual effort almost in what we can arrive at because of my willingness to just freak the fuck out sometimes. And then just like, and let us both learn from it.
Yeah. So I need all of that expression from you, or I can't then really tune into what you're feeling. Like that night, I needed you to freak out. I needed you to lash out at me. I needed you to shut down. I don't love it.
And neither do I.
But it is valuable when I can stay out of feeling like I'm a victim of it and instead tune into what's going on with you. Because when you shut down like that, when you lash out like that, you're afraid. You're feeling threatened in some way. Some part of you is feeling threatened or challenged, and you're getting defensive, and you're trying to push back from something that made you uncomfortable. Now, the reality is when I can be with that, I can see all sorts of things. But that requires that I am able to keep my heart open. Back to this polarity thing, right? If your expression is getting big, my heart needs to open even bigger. Because there's something in that expression that I need to learn. Because this energy moves, right? It moves out of you into me. You feel and I receive it. And then I can take that information, I can learn from it. I can put that together with everything else I know about you and myself and our life. And then I can see, in this case, oh, there's something that's actually really helpful, valuable, and important for her in what I suggested, and she got defensive against it. Because she was afraid of it, because it would challenge her beliefs, her ego, in a way that would break apart some of those old belief systems and would probably be really valuable for her. But she's scared. As soon as I get hurt and tell you, you hurt me, now I put a wall up between us. And the wall really is, I start coming at you with emotional energy when you are trying to give emotional energy to me. I tried to invert the polarity, and then those energies crash into each other. And then what happened that evening for a while is we kind of just went flatline. We were quiet. We were staring at each other. Not much was happening. There wasn't really much repair possible. But
there was
later,
there was. And not too long, because I remember coming to you, standing right over there on the steps, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is where this was coming from inside of me. And then more clarity came after that too. But I feel like the whole experience of moments like that has felt better and better and better. Like they don't feel so challenging anymore like they did a long time ago.
Because those things would have strung on for days before.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of like minutes or hours at the most. So the last couple here, I don't know if this came from a man or a woman, but the question is, how can a man contain himself more and control his reaction to his woman's expression when it comes off strongly? So where I start with that again from a polarity perspective, if your expression is coming off strongly, I need to be completely non-reactive to that. I need to be receptive to it. So I don't need to try to control and contain and like suppress my reaction. What I need to do is be with myself and sort out why am I reacting in the first place? What feels dangerous to me? What part of me got hurt sometime before now that made her expression right now feel dangerous? Because the reaction is coming from a triggered reminding of something that happened before this moment. So containing my reaction isn't the right way to look at it. It's bringing love to the part of myself that feels hurt. It's having compassion for the part of myself that got hurt at some point in the past that this is now reminding me of, because my reaction that I might be having has nothing to do with what you maybe just did or said.
Yeah.
So, and the stronger your expression comes off, the deeper into my past those wounds can be hit. And when they are hit, it is not a failure on my part, because it happens a lot less than it used to, but it still happens sometimes. But when it does, it's not a failure. It is so damn valuable. Your expression will tear me apart in exactly the places I need to be torn apart, so that I can repair that wound that was already there. And that's the thing that we have to remember. I didn't fail because I reacted. I didn't fail because I went into an inversion, because I went into a feminine expression. It's not wrong. It's just a natural response to whatever was already inside of me. I couldn't have done anything else. So I have to value it and see that it's an opportunity for me to be better. It's an opportunity for me to heal that part of myself that got set off by something that you said.
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe next time, now it doesn't hurt that part of me anymore, because that part of me isn't hurt anymore. It's healed.
I love that explanation.
Next one comes from a woman who says, my hubby slides into a dom role so well. How do I express my need and want for that more often?
With your mouth. No, that's a little sassy.
Well, but also, yeah. And the challenge in this is, why does it feel easier to ask a stranger on the internet how to do it rather than just to speak up to him and tell him? Like, that's what's inside of you as the person asking this question. For some reason, the only answer to that question is, how do I ask him for this? You ask him for it.
Yeah. Like, I love these experiences. Can we have more?
And gratitude for what you like rather than finger pointing and blame for what you don't. Focus on your experience and what it feels like to you, why you enjoy it. Like, give him the feedback of what it is that he's going to get more of from you if you receive more of this from him.
Yeah. Like, I love your leadership. I love when you take control. And then, like, I don't know what the ways are, but share your gratitude and expression and love for all of it. And then how does it make you feel?
How does it make you feel is the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can do all sorts of things like here's an example of how does it make you feel. God, it turns me on when you do that. If you as a woman say that to your man when he maybe gets a little bossy with you and tells you what to do rather than asking you, like, ooh, that turns me on.
Ooh, I feel that in my pussy.
That is far more helpful towards encouraging more of this and asking for it, reflecting how you feel. That's far more valuable than, you never do this, or I wish you did this like those people do. Like, please, everyone, do not use us as a stick to hit your partner with as an example of what they're not doing.
No.
Instead, maybe sit down with an episode of our podcast. Here's something you could do with him. Find an episode of our podcast that really resonates with you, that really speaks to you. Sit down with him and say, I want to watch this together because I would love more of this together with you. It would make me feel whatever.
Yeah. It's also in the energy how you bring it too. Like, can you be playful with it and invite more of the experiences that turn you both on? There's lots of ways you can play with that one.
The next one is if a dom is going through a hard time and dealing with depression, shutting their sub out, isn't meeting her needs, and isn't respecting boundaries, is the sub supposed to just take it and wait it out? Or how can that be handled if you don't want to give up on the dynamic?
Is the sub just supposed to take it? No.
No, because you're describing abusive behavior, shutting someone out, not meeting your needs, not respecting boundaries. No, you don't take that. Now, do you not want that dynamic to end? I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you love this person if you're asking this question. And I will say, first of all, go back to an episode we recorded. We would have released it in October of 2024, called The 3 Big Questions. This was one of the big questions that we get asked by submissives. So go back to that episode. If this was your question or you have this question, go back to that episode and listen to it. We talked about this quite a bit in that episode. But second, from a polarity perspective, if this is what's going on, and the question started with going through a hard time and dealing with depression. Okay, so you're already showing me from a polarity perspective that you are worried about how he's feeling. That you're tuned into his feelings, his emotions. So, like, you are receptive emotionally, he's expressive. Like, his depression, his hard time is the thing that's in control. That's where he's expressing from. So both of you are in an inversion here. And I'm sure he is going through depression. I'm sure he is going through a hard time. The way to love a man who is depressed and going through a hard time is not to coddle him and to validate him in his weakness. It is to love what makes him strong. Build him up in his strength. Don't reward him for staying in this heavy sadness. Now, it might seem like, well, that's really insensitive. A man will crawl over broken glass. I don't remember where I heard this, but it's so true. A man will crawl over broken glass for a woman that he loves. Men will take action for something that matters to them. And we treat men like we need to coddle them when they're feeling pain. What we really need to do is encourage their capability. So it is not being insensitive to build him up for what he is and what he's capable of and what his strengths are. That's what you do here. And then you express how his violating of your boundaries hurts you. Again, you as a woman are the expressive, emotional polarity. If you want to feel like this dominant submissive dynamic is working in any way whatsoever for you, you're going to need to express how you feel when your boundaries are violated. Well, I don't want to lose the dynamic. Well, do you want to have your boundaries violated? Because by allowing that to happen, that's what you're saying that you want.
Yeah, and by having your own boundaries violated, you're dismissing yourself completely. So if you're dismissing yourself completely, you don't even have a dynamic.
Right.
At all.
Next question was, how would you lead a submissive who was an independent baddie? So my answer to that question is, if she was insistent on being an independent baddie, I wouldn't try to lead her. Because I'm not going to try to force someone to follow me who doesn't want to.
But what if she says, I want to follow you, but clings to her independence?
It's not going to work for me. Because independence shows that you're not going to depend on me. You're not going to count on me, which means you're showing me that you can't and won't trust me. And that is how I need to be received.
And these are leader-follower dynamics. The submissive is a follower. And so if I'm trying to do things my way, there's no room for someone else to step into that.
Yeah. And when we get to this kind of question, we always get well, what about the brats? Well, even the brats who want to challenge authority in most cases, want that challenge to be overtaken, and then they want to be led. They just want to put up a little fight. That's one of those things I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it. But I know that is how some people like to approach these dynamics. It's still, if the end result is I'm going to follow you, you still have something there. If the end result is I'm just going to fight you constantly because I need to be independent, bye.
Back to the brat thing. Definitely, I'm sure there's room for playing with that, but this is another one of those things where you have to look at where does this behavior come from? Because my mind just went to a child who did not get their parents' attention until they acted up. Very possible. Could be coming from there. Maybe, maybe not. But if you want to understand where some of that energy, if it doesn't feel good, but you feel like you're acting in a way that isn't you, like, dig deeper, because you can still play with the energy, but like let go of the experience of pain that's attached to it too.
The attachment and the identity can be let go of. I am a brat, and it can maybe just be, I like playfully being bratty.
Yeah.
The I am versus I enjoy are two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
So this next one is for you. How do you honor the times when you as a woman want to flex your masculine dom side?
I don't have a masculine dom side. I don't want to be in control. I don't want to lead. I don't want to make the decisions.
For a woman who does, this gets at our inversion conversation. Why is it that you're feeling the desire to be in control? Why is it that you're feeling the desire to take charge and be the dominant? And also, can you tune into, does it exhaust you? Do you feel tired? Now, are we talking about a relationship and a long-term dynamic? Do you want this inside of a long-term, loving, devoted relationship that lasts for years or a lifetime? Because if you do, you have to look at and understand these laws of polarity and how they're going to play out over the long run. If you are a feminine woman and you're just feeling this desire to flip into the dom side, okay, is that protecting yourself from something? Are you afraid of something? Are you trying to avoid something? Only you, as the person asking this question, can really know that. Now, do you just want to play with the kink of it because it's fun, it's a turn on, and you want to have a scene or a time that's just fun and exciting? Then get consent and go play and have a good time. That's not wrong. Again, it's not bad. It's when that energy is coming from a reaction to fear or an avoidance of something or coming out of some unhealed trauma in yourself. That's when it might not be all that's supportive of a long-term, loving, connected dynamic.
Right.
Especially if you're wanting to just flip into this. Well, do you just want to flip into it? For example, are there similarities? Is there something going on when you feel this desire to go into this? Okay, maybe you're actually reacting to and defending yourself against something.
Yeah. No dom for me.
Somebody just commented on our Instagram recently. It was a guy who was clearly a dominant who said something like, The idea of submitting to another person makes me want to vomit. Someone asks, and these are two different questions. I'm going to put them together here. One of them is, how can a woman be in the energy of submission while single and dating? And someone else said, how do I live in my submission when I don't have a dom or a master?
Well, my take on dominance and submission is that you can't be a submissive without the dominant as your counterpart. So there's plenty of ways to, that's how I use those labels. So can you be in a surrendered, want to follow energy? Absolutely.
Receptive.
Yes, exactly. So I don't remember how the question was asked, but I'm just kind of envisioning, if I was on the dating scene, I would invite in playful ways and sometimes very straight ways of asking them to take the lead. If a man comes to me and he's like, I want to take you on a date, where would you like to go? I might say, I might literally have an orgasm if you decide. Now, maybe you're not going to use that, but I love when my man makes the decisions. Or I love being taken care of. I would love for you just to decide. I love Italian. I love seafood. That was your expression of asking him to lead you.
Yeah, and outside of relationship and even outside of dating, I would encourage a single woman who wants to tune into the feminine expression, start speaking up for how you feel all the time.
Yes.
Start removing the ways that you filter and limit your expression to try to control other people's perception of you. Let your expression get big. If you look at submission as something that is going to shrink you down into this cute little calm, soft, gentle package of a submissive woman, like some caricature of what you picture as being submissive, I'm sorry, if you start letting go of, you're wrong. If you start letting go of control and being led into experiences, you're going to be triggered, you're going to be reactive, you're going to be emotional, you're going to be sexual, you're going to be alive, you're going to feel a lot if you're really doing submission. So get good at expressing how you feel. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a relationship someday where you're wanting to submit, and then you're going to be uncomfortable with how much energy is moving in your system. You have to get good at moving that energy through your system. You have to get good at speaking up. You have to get good at trusting yourself to share when your boundaries are being violated and saying no. You have to, and this is what you can do if you are a woman who wants to be a submissive and doesn't have a dominant. Get really good at being in the bigness of your feminine energy, because feminine energy is big.
Mm-hmm. Sharing how you feel about the experiences, about the man, about other things,
Life.
Yeah, life itself is very, very important. And that is feminine. That's your feminine expression. And so, like I said, in my opinion, you can't be submissive without someone leading you, but you can invite the experiences, especially when you're dating with a man,
Mm-hmm.
and speak up for what you want.
Yep. This is what we talked about at the beginning. The feminine expression, feminine energy is receptive physically, expressive emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you open yourself up to be receptive physically, and how do you express emotionally? Get yourself in that energy as much as you can. You'll be surprised at how magnetic you become.
Absolutely.
And by magnetic, I mean repulsive to the wrong kind of men too.
Yes.
Because the wrong kind of men will not like that much emotional expression. They won't want you to ask them to take charge. They'll be wanting you to decide. They'll be the ones having big feelings. You'll be repulsive to those kind of men if you put yourself in this sort of effeminate expression.
But also, let's just go here for a moment. Some men have never met a woman who wants to be led. So when you are just being authentic to your life experience and what you want out of it, you can open a man to this perspective and tap into his heart, or he'll tap into his heart and want to take care of you. It can happen. We hear all the time, where are the men who want to be dominant? Women, just speak up for what you want, because we've all been living in this world where things are have gone sideways. So
Well, you're living in a world where you've learned and trained yourself to shut down your expression because of a fear of pushing men away.
right.
When in reality, what men need is to be broken open by your expression. And some of them are going to be pushed away, and some of them are going to be completely healed by it.
Absolutely.
Someone asks me, do you micromanage Dawn's life, or are you more general and non-structured in your rules and leadership? She has to ask permission to breathe in and breathe out.
Oh, I've been forgetting to do that this whole podcast.
Have you been breathing without permission again?
I'm still holding my breath.
We joke about that because no, I do not micromanage at all. I am disinterested in micromanagement because, again, I've said this on this podcast lots of times, my desire in having Dawn be my submissive is to see her come alive. I want to see her get big and expressive and be vibrant and full of vitality and full of arrows. This is what I want out of this Dom-Sub dynamic. I want to be able to connect to that energy in you when you feel it for yourself. So if I'm ordering you around moment to moment, where is the room for you to be in free expression?
Yeah, that, micromanaging is the structure. And so the balance of how much structure I need has probably changed over time. And so you have to work with the submissive you have and where her needs are. It might be more, it might be less.
But it will change over time.
Right. And so the more that I've connected with who I am, the more I do feel the desire to have the room for the creativity and the playfulness and the expression of energy in various ways. And you might give me some structure and then I give feedback to it, and you might take that structure away because all of a sudden you're like, nope, that structure isn't actually serving her. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
She needs the freedom. And that is one thing that I'm really learning about myself is I've domed myself. I've said that before. My own self-limitation has been so much structure, along with then the external structures that I was trying to live up to in society. And so in my experience, I feel like we've gotten less structure over time right now.
We have, and that's been intentional, because I'm going to give a little insight into how I lead you here. In you as an individual, as just the woman that you are, all of the things that you have put yourself through and been programmed to be, all of the self-control, limitation, everything, self-discipline, everything we've talked about a lot here. You have also had a tendency to adopt my structure that I give you as something that you now apply force to yourself to try to live up to the structure that I've given you.
Busted.
So this is where understanding that as the dominant, I have the right to deploy control in whatever ways I see fit and that I believe are going to move us in the direction that I want us to go. Sometimes that means that the structure that you need is to be taken out of structure so you can just kind of flail.
And yes, because in those moments where it's like structure is off, maybe it's like you don't get to work out, it's nothing, I'm going to have a reaction to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to show me more about myself and my relationship to that structure. And then what's deeper underneath that and why I am clinging to something.
Yeah, because I won't let my dominance be used as a way that you suppress yourself. And it has been over and over and over again. And that's something that I won't participate in anymore. When I saw that it was happening, if I'm going to give you structure, it's going to be for your own good. And if you're going to make it into something that you're going to hurt yourself with, I'm going to take it away.
Yeah.
So I don't have to be ordering you around or micromanaging you just because I'm a dominant. Sometimes what might be the most dominant thing to do is to not give you any structure and make you feel the lack of it, so I can see how you react to that. Sometimes it might be applying structure in a way that I know is going to trigger the fuck out of you and you're going to blow up and get upset. Not because I even necessarily needed you to follow that structure, because I needed you to see your own reactivity.
Absolutely.
I call those controlled detonations.
Yeah. I've seen how you have allowed certain structure to be there because I had to arrive at a certain self-awareness too.
Mm-hmm. I have, and you don't often know that I'm doing it while I'm doing it, and it hurts in the way that I think a parent, I say I think because not having my own children, in a way that I think a parent probably feels when they say, like, they're about to spank their kid and they say it's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt, or it's going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Because of that feeling that they have of giving that discipline to the kid. I don't have to get into whether spanking kids is right or wrong, but it's like sometimes I have to let you essentially walk into your own self-destruction so that you can see for yourself, because I can't just tell you. Sometimes you have to experience it. And that's a part of leadership, is understanding when I need to take my hands off the wheel and either let you learn your lesson or crash, and then just know that I'm going to be there to pick up the pieces with you.
There's been so many times where you can say something and I cannot arrive at what I need to know, until I have an experience. And many times that is crashing. But again, not failing.
Exactly. All right, last two questions, and then my butt's getting sore sitting on these chairs.
They're so comfy.
If we break up, how am I supposed to live a normal life again? That's scary. So this was asked from someone from their perspective, but what would you say to someone who is afraid of giving up this control and coming into a deep submission with the fear of, what if this relationship doesn't last?
Well, that fear can open your heart to what's underneath it. Because if you're actually feeling that fear as real, that's something inside of you that doesn't need to be there. Now, like, do we have a reality of people dying? Absolutely.
I think she was talking about breaking up.
Well, I'm just saying, like, is there potential to actually lose somebody? But if you're fearing the breakup, like, you're living in a fear, that hold that mirror up to yourself and let your heart be opened, because you're holding on to something that is not actually serving you.
Right. If you are in this dynamic, you're in a dom sub dynamic, a relationship that you like and you enjoy and you want, and you're afraid of losing that other person. That energy of fear that you're carrying around with you is impacting how you are relating to that person on a moment to moment to moment basis in ways that you don't even realize. So by doing that, by interacting with them in a way that you're driven by this fear of loss, it's going to change how you interact with them, the way you look at them, the things that you do. And you might be more prone to self-abandon. You might be more prone to people please. You might be more prone to shut down your expression and not say how you really feel, because if you might have convinced yourself that if I speak up, I'm going to scare this person away. All sorts of things. And it is the same thing, that the same fear of losing that person that is probably the most likely thing to drive that person away. Because now they're not getting your full expression. They're getting people pleasing. They're getting the resentment that comes from people pleasing and from shutting down your expression. And there's all of this under the surface stuff that starts going on. So when you have an energy of fear, if you have a fear of your partner doing something that's going to upset you, now you will be trying to suppress and control that person in a way that's going to limit them, that's going to leave them put in a box where they have to choose between doing what they want and upsetting you. And then you're only going to get the version of that person that is trying to live up to your standards, or you're going to feel constantly triggered by them. So your fears impact how much you can actually enjoy the relationship, and probably do more damage to it than help maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
And I left this last one for last on purpose, because in all of this conversation about polarity, we've hit it from a lot of different angles. It is a very simple concept, and I'm going to end this the same place I started it. Please go pick up the ebook that's in the show notes for this episode. It's free, and it goes into these concepts in a way that is clear and it's understandable. And there's little stick figure drawings that are really helpful. And it really is. I'm very proud of it. And I'm giving it away. I want you to read it. It will be helpful. And so this question is really a valuable one, because sometimes the polarity in a relationship, even in ours, we've shared a couple stories of this here, gets inverted. It gets turned over. All of a sudden, I'm in some kind of an emotional dump on you, or you are like all worried about my feelings, or, whatever ways that this can happen. How do you get back into polarity when it's been shaken, when it's been inverted, when it's been flipped over somehow?
Well, I would say what that looks like for us this far into it is a little different than what it was before. And the beautiful thing is that, let's call this journey emotional healing, letting go of those woundings that get triggered. The more of those wounds that you let go of, the more what's left. Authenticity. So in my experience of our relationship, now we've been together 15 and a half years, almost 16. And we had that hot and heavy, passionate intensity at the beginning, and then we lost it. And then you went on this journey. How can I recreate it? And in my experience, I haven't tried to do polarity. I haven't tried to be feminine. I haven't tried to do submission. It's just my authentic experience. And my whole experience of you, inside and outside the bedroom. Like what I feel in my system, in my body, the turn on that's there and present in just even knowing and feeling that you are my man, you're my leader, you're my dominant, you're my husband. You're the man that I get to fuck. Like my whole body is just turned on by you. And that was not there before, even in that hot and heavy intensity. That was not the experience. It was different.
Mhm.
It was me, a very small, limited version of even, I'm sure there was some other authentic me there. There was. But so for me, like, what do we do to reconnect? Like, for me, it's the physical. It's, I want to be wrapped up in you. I want to feel your energy, your body, and it literally just melts my system from wherever we were. And in certain times, it's just a hug standing up. But when we can lay down on the bed and just reconnect physically, everything changes.
Yep. The koala bear. We've talked about the koala bear before. I
Yep.
lay down on my back, you curl up on your side next to me and kind of wrap yourself around me. And
Right. Now, I just want to say this, and then I'll give it to you. In the past, there might have been a lot more communication,
Mhm.
a little bit of space before we felt ready to step back into, I'm just going to call it these roles, like, because it's okay that you go in and out of the polarity, the power exchange.
Mhm.
It's going to happen. It has to happen in order for you to like come back into it. And in our experience, we get to live pretty much in it. And it's why I've said this before, like I just feel the turn on over breakfast.
The last little piece of instruction I'll share in response to that question, and all of that was absolutely true and wonderfully said. For the person asking this question, if you want to get back into polarity, remember where you receive. And if you are a man and you want to lead back into the polarity, remember where you receive. Don't try to do it first. Open yourself up to that other person's experience. So if you're the man and you want to lead, and you want to get back into polarity, you want to get back into that connection, you want to lead back to feeling like the dominant submissive dynamic is working right, open up your heart first. Don't try to step into like, oh, I'm going to get us back into dominance and submission by bossing her around or by reasserting these rules and forcing her into some kind of obedience. That's not how you repair. Open, 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 open. Open up your heart. Connect to how she's feeling. She needs to feel you feeling her. Connect to her emotion. Like, what's the real emotional experience she's having? Is she feeling hurt by you? Is she feeling sad about something? Like, what's going on with her? How can you connect to that? Not try to fix it. Just connect to it. Start there. If you're a woman and you are trying to get the relationship back into polarity, receive, 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 receive. Yes, then also express. Go into your each of your own masculine polarities. If you're the man, start leading again. Maybe you lead into a ritual that you have that can help you feel connected again. If you're a woman, maybe you express some of the things you admire about him. Build him up, like I was saying back to the question about depression. Build him up. Give to him in some way that's not forceful, but be a little gentle. Like if something feels like it's broken, if it's out of polarity, it's out of connection, there's still a fire there. There's still a spark there, but you can't just, if you're building a fire and you have a tiny little spark, you can't just throw a pile of big logs on it and expect it to burn. Put a little bit of tinder on there. Put some little sticks on there. Put a little bit of newspaper on there. Like, get it, like, start slow and build it up again.
Yeah. The words that were coming to my mind were honor your experience and honor each other's experience. And like you said, don't force the reconnection. Let it be authentic. Express the desire to reconnect and then honor however long your partner needs in order to step into it in the love and devotion. Like that's always important to me is getting to that point where I can come to you like with walls dropped.
Mhm.
That's important.
Yeah. And it's the same the other way. Like when I feel your walls shoot up, when I feel you go into some kind of a trigger, like, or if I felt my own go up, first things first is we have to get back to walls down. We have to get back to openness. And that's why I say receive. You can't receive from behind walls. So in the process of starting with receiving, you are also by nature going to have to drop your own walls.
Yeah. And it might take some compassion.
Yep.
Probably so.
So I really, really, really hope that these conversations have, and the questions and all of the answers to them have helped give some context to how dominance and submission and masculine energy and feminine energy and polarity and all of these things play together, because they really are all one and the same. And there's so much value in devoting yourself together to doing this work inside of a relationship, inside of a committed relationship where you're both all in. Because from there, you get to work through all of this stuff. And I say get to, sometimes it doesn't feel like get to in the moment, but it is the most healing, the most empowering, the most powerful thing that I've ever experienced in this really deep intimacy of this devotional dominant submissive dynamic. So thank you for all of your reflections, for everything you had to share here today too.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for listening. We appreciate you.
Thank you.